Ron, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Who are Rey's parents?
Can I give you like my top 5? Greedo.
Okay.
Maz Kanata.
Okay.
Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
The next 2 are just Luke Skywalker.
The next two are just... Hey guys, it's Andy here.
It's Ronnie here.
We're Funnecessary. Let's talk about Rey's parents. I'll tell you who the internet says they are and why the internet's dumb.
People have theories on the internet about Star Wars?
They do. And they're all wrong.
The internet is always so dumb when it comes to Star Wars.
It is. So the first theory is that she is Leia and Han's.
Yes.
That's a dumb theory. Leia doesn't recognize her. Ben Solo doesn't recognize her. A lot of this theory stems from Ben saying, "What girl?" The First Order officers come to Ben and say, "Oh hey, like the droid, the BB unit's with a girl," and he's like freaks out and says, "What girl?" I don't think that means that he's like, "It must be my sister." Like that's very random.
Yeah.
I think he just is upset that someone's helping the droid.
Right, and he's a jerk in many ways, so he's probably a misogynist too.
Yeah.
And he's upset that it's a girl doing it.
That's outsmarting him. Yeah, that's not a bad call. The next one is that Han gives her a look. Maz says, like, "Who's the girl?" And Han gives Maz a look. I think that's just Han giving her a look.
Yeah.
I think it's Han being, I see a lot of myself in her, I connect with her, I want to mentor her.
Right.
I don't think it's she's secretly my daughter.
Right.
Look. Also, until 5 years ago, Leia was a very prominent senator. Han had a very prestigious racing career and company. They were super rich and super well taken care of. Why would they hide Rey on Jakku?
Yeah.
Ben Solo only turned to the dark side 5 years before Force Awakens, which means Han and Leia had no reason to hide Rey from anyone. Why wouldn't they raise her? Why wouldn't they raise her with Luke like they did with Ben? So she's definitely not a soul. Next thought is that she's a Skywalker. They use the same evidence of like Han gives Maz a look, like Ben says, "What girl? It's my cousin." I don't see it. I don't think Luke has any reason to hide Rey. Again, Ben Solo is still Ben Solo until 5 years before Force Awakens. Rey was left on Jakku much longer than 5 years ago. The timeline doesn't really work there. Luke, who grew up an orphan, not knowing his parents, who was raised by an uncle and aunt on a desert planet. I don't think he'd leave his daughter on a desert planet to be raised by Unkar Plutt. Unkar Plutt is like a terrible man, like garbage trash man who like hires thugs to beat up and steal from Rey and like doesn't give her enough portions. I don't think Luke's like, you will raise my daughter.
Yeah.
I will say that there is a long shot that she is somehow a Skywalker, with the caveat Luke didn't know he had a daughter.
I think the same could possibly be said for Han.
I don't think Han was cheating on Leia. They got married very soon after Return of the Jedi. If you read Bloodlines, which again, canon, and Claudia Gray talked to Rian Johnson, it appears that Han and Leia had a very healthy marriage, with the problem of they were just both obsessed with work. And I don't want to spoil anything in Bloodlines, but like you kind of see why their marriage fell apart if you read that. If they were to pull something from Legends where maybe Luke had an affair with an ex-Imperial spy, if Luke maybe hooked up with someone who was a little sketchy, and then she just kind of like left, and Luke just didn't know that he had a daughter, I could see that. However, it would really have to be explained. Next theory is that she is a Sidious. Or Palpatine.
This again?
That she's a Palpatine.
This again?
That she is Sheev Palpatine's great-granddaughter.
So basically, she's Snoke's daughter. Is what those same theories is proposed.
No, not Snoke. So the thought process here is that she scrunches up her face, similarly to how
great. Come on, people.
to how Palpatine scrunches up his face when he lightsaber fights. I just think Daisy Ridley makes funny faces. Like if you ever watch interviews with her, one, she's delightful. And two, she just makes silly faces. You do hear Palpatine in the Force flashback when she touches the lightsaber. However, you also hear Yoda, and I don't think Yoda is Rey's dad. You also hear Qui-Gon, although there are people that think she's Qui-Gon's. We're just not even gonna touch that one. That one's super silly. I think it would be cool that like Ben Solo, like the child of the light, turns to the dark side, and like Rey, child of darkness, turns to the light. Like I think there's some like interesting thematic stuff you can do there. I also think it'd be really interesting to have Luke train Palpatine's heir.
Sure.
Like I think there's some really interesting stuff to do there. So I don't necessarily want to completely write this thing off. However, all of the evidence I've seen arguing it is flimsy as hell and doesn't really hold up to any scrutiny. Other than the fact that it'd be cool.
We talked about that a lot during our Snoke video, that it would be interesting to have old Legends canon brought in here and really build it out. There's nothing pointing to that.
Yeah.
There's no evidence to that fact.
I don't see it. I don't see it at all. But it'd be cool.
It would be cool.
The last one I'm going to touch on is the most convoluted and the dumbest. Pre-Clone Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi hooked up with a duchess named Satine. She gives him the nickname Ben, so that way she can talk about the Jedi she's hooking up with without giving them away. Which, like, hey, Ben Kenobi. Obi-Wan apparently secretly has a daughter that he either doesn't know about because Satine kept it from him because she knew he'd leave the Jedi Order to raise it, or Obi-Wan knew about it and just didn't leave the Jedi Order. That daughter, according to this theory, is Sabine Wren, who is a character on Clone Wars. Now the problem there is that Sabine Wren is shown to be Asian, whereas Obi-Wan is white as hell, Ewan McGregor, and Satine is also very Caucasian looking. So that's a little, doesn't quite work with the theory. They then think that Sabine and Ezra hooked up, and Ezra is brown. So then you have an Asian character and possibly an Indian character making Daisy Ridley. Very Caucasian.
Very Caucasian.
You don't really care about race. Like, there's that great Cinderella movie with like Whoopi Goldberg, where like all the parentage and all the acting and stuff, like race just doesn't factor into casting. I'm fine with that, but Star Wars has never done that. 1 and 2, I would much rather them have just made Rey a person of color then.
Yeah.
Like, why would you give that role to a white person?
I think you're echoing a complaint that is not on her. Yeah. So you don't buy this.
It's just so convoluted.
Granddaughter.
It's so convoluted.
Illegitimate granddaughter.
Illegitimate granddaughter
of Ewan McGregor.
That's the main Kenobi theory, is that him and Satine give birth to Sabine. Also, that's why the Knights of Ren are called the Knights of Ren, because Sabine Wren is the illegitimate daughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Kylo Ren somehow feels connected and names them after his, like, godmother or something, or like aunt or something.
I feel like that's more convoluted than
it's
granddaughter.
It's very complicated. It doesn't make sense. It's a desperate cry to get Rebels characters more involved with the Force Awakens plot, which, like, I'm all for Rebels characters appearing everywhere. I love them. Rogue One, I saw all of you and their friends. I think if Obi-Wan hooked up with someone on Tatooine after Revenge of the Sith, I think that maybe there you could have had Rey's lineage pick up. I don't see it with Satine. That was the whole point of Satine, is that Obi-Wan and Satine didn't do what Anakin and Padme did.
So Rey is not Luke Skywalker's daughter. She's not Han Solo's daughter.
Nope.
She is not Darth Sidious's granddaughter.
Nope, but it'd be cool.
It would be cool. And she's not Obi-Wan Kenobi's granddaughter.
Nope, but it'd be cool unless everyone got action after Revenge of the Sith. That's the caveat I'm putting there. And unless Luke didn't know about her, that's the caveat I'm putting there.
So whose daughter is Rey?
Probably original characters.
I would love it. I know that, like, Star Wars is like a story about the Skywalker family and
Ben
like
Solo's
how that
right
goes
there.
out.
Ben Solo's Skywalker family.
Right. We just had that. Like you said, Kylo Ren was given to this universe by the Skywalker family. Let's diverge a little bit. Let's as silly as it is, let's have like a Sidious. I don't think Sidious is the way to go, but like maybe a Qui-Gon Jinn.
You want an original character.
I want an original character.
And I think that's
or just someone who's like on the fringe. They're brought in and that's how they kind of come back into the new trilogy, and I think there's a real opportunity here to branch out from this family tree.
And we just had a Star Wars movie with barely any Skywalkers in it at all.
Solid.
And it was great.
Solid.
I think a lot of the theories are fun and interesting, but I think they don't quite hold up. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do. I think it's going to be so awesome and so interesting that I don't think we're going to call it.
I hope not.
I think we're going to be impressed or surprised. Rian Johnson's my favorite writer, director of all time, so I'm pretty stoked that Episode 8 is in his hands, and I can't wait to see what it does.
I'm very excited for Rian Johnson to make a movie that we can have another round of terrible internet theories about.
Yup.
Because you know what's going to happen. You guys can't help yourselves.
Alright guys, I'm Andy.
I'm Ronnie.
The greats are great because they paint a lot.